Hi everyone, welcome to another episode at Home with Jen. And today's topic is all around food. Food is a very hot topic right now. It has a lot of fear surrounding it, from online ordering to going into the grocery stores or simply wondering if there's enough for everyone. So I went to an incredibly insightful source. Celebrity chef and MasterChef Canada judge, Claudio Aprile. He has a beautiful and insightful way of looking at mindful eating and savoring the moment. Let's learn from Claudio. Claudio, I want to thank you for joining me on my series At Home with Jen. Welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
I'm really glad you're here because I really enjoy our interviewing conversations because we seem to have very mindful conversations outside of traditional media questions, which I personally enjoy. And I felt with everything going on in the world right now, there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of fear around food. I see fear around online shopping. There's fear about going into a grocery store. There's bigger fear for people whether they're even going to be able to have food. Mm-hmm. And you have such a beautiful, mindful way of approaching life and food. And you shared with me that during this experience at home, you created quite a beautiful experience around your culinary decisions and the savoring of the moment. And I thought perhaps you could share some insights on that, and that could really help lift some people who they just might be feeling a lot of fear at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a person that really subscribes to the fear factor of life. I generally will, take a dive into the deep end and see what happens. That's kind of the way I'm wired. I'm not suggesting to be, reckless with what's happening in the world right now, but I am, really, for me anyway, living a life where I'm finding the small tasks are giving me tremendous satisfaction and meaning right now. One of the things I've been doing is I've been just cooking a lot at home, and I'm not shopping for the entire week. That's the other thing I've been doing. I've been shopping every day, which is probably against the advice of the World Health Organization. But, I'm going out, I'm protected. I'm constantly sanitizing my hands, doing all the things that are recommended. But I'm getting a lot of just joy out of making daily meals and even, even the lineup going into the grocery store. I'm finding some happiness through that process, because I'm a firm believer that, you really shouldn't argue or fight things that are out of your control. And this is something that is out of our control. So I'm really embracing it. I'm trying to make the best of it. In some ways, and I say this with complete sensitivity, but for me, it does feel like a bit of a forced mental sabbatical where I can actually just really take some time out, and I don't feel when I'm at home that I need to be at work, and when I'm at work I don't need to be at home. I really feel at peace right now, just hanging out and really allowing myself to really evaluate life, where I'm at in my journey in this life. So I'm really looking at the silver linings that are present right now. There's many of them.
And that's very helpful for people who might not think that way or think the glass is full. And what's interesting in the series of interviews that I've been doing, the word that continuously is coming up is joy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 10 to 12 people being interviewed, and everyone is saying the word joy. And what's interesting to take that further is everyone is saying they're finding joy in the little things, the daily routines.
I've always lived my life that way, and I realize that now more so than ever. I was that kid who, I went to summer camp, and I remember, getting caught in some freak thunderstorm on a canoe trip, and we got stranded on this little island in northern Ontario, and I remember feeling really excited that we didn't have anywhere to sleep that night. We had to actually sleep underneath our canoes and build little shelters, and there was a lightning storm. And that, to me, you know, this happened when I was 16 years old. I still remember it, and I remember feeling, wow, we survived this, you know, this summer, freak summer, you know, thunderstorm. So I always live that way. I just find things happen for us, you know, a lot of the time, not to us. And, you know, and again, when I say this, I know that some people might say, well, that is insensitive, because I know there's a lot of people that are struggling right now. You know, I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, that this time for me, listen, we can't change it. This is bigger than all of us. It's a big wake-up call in many ways. And I am trying to find the positive in it. And for me, the positive is that it's allowed me some time, literally giving me actual space and time to figure out what I need to do next, what, you know, just to stop, to think, to observe, and to plan, which is something that I live by. This kind of, it's almost like a quiet time. We all need quiet time. You know, when you're you know, in kindergarten, you know, and you're misbehaving, the teacher says, okay, it's quiet time. This is our quiet time. And maybe many of us have been misbehaving a little bit. And I mean, what I mean by that is maybe we haven't been living the life that we're supposed to be living. Maybe we've been too caught up in you know, in material things, and we've been less concerned about, you know, about family, about friendship, about nature, Mother Nature, which is another topic in itself, because I think this is nature telling all of us, stop, please give me a bit of a break. You're hurting me, and if you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I'm trying to take a positive from all of this, because that's all we can really do.
Well, I really appreciate your insights. And it's interesting that you shared about the storm and how you went through the experience of your storm and came out of it like in a whole different perspective, and that you even go back to that now as an adult man from when you were a teen. And I can relate to that because I was bedridden for a year with illness, and lost my like ideal life I had in New York City, and was in bed for a year, on tons of medication, et cetera, et cetera. And when people say to me, how did your brand start? It started from that storm. And after that storm of healing and health and holistic modalities came the light, which I always look for now, and the rainbow. So it's very interesting that two very different journeys, but very similar paths in terms of mindset of how we see things.
Yeah, I mean, it is a mindset. And, you know, we talked last week for a little bit, and something I said to you was that I've learning more about just being aware of, you know, anxiety and negative thoughts that start to seep into your head and take residency, you know, in your brain. And I've learned, you know, when I start, you know, your mood starts to switch a little bit. You feel that what's happening in my career, when this thing is said and done, am I still going to be relevant? How am I going to be financially, mentally? You start thinking about all of these things, and then they start to shift your mood and how you feel. So I really made sure to take a little bit of time out every day just to think about, what am I feeling? How am I feeling? What's causing these feelings? And look at them straight, you know, in the face, and ask them, what are you doing in my head? What's going on here? And some may think, oh my God, you sound like you're going crazy. It's actually the opposite. I'm actually really paying attention to how I feel. And I think right now there's a tremendous amount of stress. You know, I mean, I have a very young family, so I feel it as well. You know, just, you know, typically for, you know, the parents of these young families, I know what the pressure is. I feel it myself, is trying to figure out where's your income gonna come from. You know, how's your health? How's your children's health? Are you carrying this, you know, this virus? You know, there's so many things that can start to break down everyone. I think we all have little firewalls that we put up, and I think this crisis has not just physically, but it has a mental toll that it can take on you as well. I think it's really important to, you know, to reach out, ask for help if you need it. I think, you know, technology right now is an incredible tool, very, very useful. And I think there's nothing wrong with reaching out and asking someone for help, saying, listen, I feel really hopeless right now. I feel incredibly worried about my future. You know, and that's not a weakness. I think the weakness is actually not identifying it and not asking for help. You know, and that ties into, you know, just general mental health that happens, you know, pre-crisis, after crisis. I think it's so important to be aware of how you're feeling and, you know, talk to your friends about it. If you think about, you know, something like therapy that, you know, is becoming a lot more popular. People they're not embarrassed to get, you know, therapy for, you know, mental illness, for example. I really think, you know, that this is a wake-up point for us to really reach out. And, you know, if you think about when something really amazing happens for you, you get a promotion at work, or you're an athlete and you beat your time, you know, you beat your personal best. You just bought a new car, you know, you just got a new gig, you know, whatever it may be, you're happy about it. You share it with people. But we don't always share our sadness. And I think right now it's a really important time to be aware that you should be a little bit sad, a little bit uncertain of your future. You should be feeling some anxiety, because the world is right now, we've never ever experienced this. This is something that is completely foreign to all of us. And you should be feeling these emotions and do not keep them in. Reach out, talk to people. You know, there's just so much out there. There's so many resources.
And that's one of the reasons why I so appreciate you. And I want to thank you for your time, because you're real. You keep it real. You're keeping it authentic. You're being honest. And I appreciate that you're sharing that, because for those that need that lift, that look to you in your social media platforms, you know, you're providing that lift and service. And I personally thank you for that. It means the world to me that you've done this today.
Oh,
and
my pleasure.
People to continue to find you on social media, can you share your handles for me?
Oh, my handle, I don't even know. It's Claudio Aprile on Instagram. There's Twitter, but I'm usually on Instagram. Instagram's actually been a very, very therapeutic platform, I think, for everyone. You know, just sharing your life and how you're feeling, and it's pretty amazing, actually.
And what I love about it, Claudio, is right now, as someone who works in social PR and as a strategist, when we talked about the pendulum is swinging in so many different ways right now. It's cleansing, it's shifting. But from a social PR, I'm like, oh, this is fabulous, because it's real. We're taking down all the masks, and we're allowing ourselves to be shown in a vulnerable state or in a scared state. We're allowing ourselves to be in a much different position of that false perfection that we normally see on social media. So to me, it's a breath of fresh air that we're all uniting and utilizing platforms to come together.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, this crisis is really, it's universal vulnerability. We're all feeling the same thing at the same time, rich or poor, whatever your race is, it doesn't matter. We're all feeling it. And I think in many ways, I hope anyway, it creates more empathy, you know, out there, because you don't see a lot of it. And I think we're all a lot more similar than we are different. And now we're finding out that's really the case, you know, and I think hopefully we take something good from it, learn something from it.
Well, thank you very much. Be well, stay safe. I so appreciate you on so many different levels.
Thank you.
I'll look forward
Likewise.
to hearing this. Thanks,
Likewise.
Claudio.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.